No introduction needed. This is why we race. 1 hour, 33 cars around Zolder, and one mandatory pit stop. I couldn't record the first lap of the race, so I just decided to take footage from the live stream. And it was close like this almost for the whole time for me, just with little packs of cars. I think I learned a lot from this race. I think I learned how to stay on somebody's bumper going through corners really well, and I think I learned how to take control of a corner. Starting the race, qualifying in I think 8th. I can't see. It's a pretty low quality video, but I am right there in the orange car sandwich. And this McLaren in front of me was kind of annoying me because he wasn't capitalizing on positions like he should have been. I think you'll see it going down into turn 8. And I forgot to say, lots of contact as the purple Ford. Oh, and he takes out the other Ford. They managed to save it though, which is nice. Yeah, you can see the orange McLaren right there. He's just going super slow. He's not capitalizing on any positions, which is really making me. Now, this is when it really kicks off, going down into turn, I think this is turn 12. The one and only Osama bin Russell absolutely takes out half the field. And that is what we are left with. Now going on board with me, it's about time. Black Ferrari pushes me out a little bit. No big deal. The Lexus is better on the straights than in the corners, so I really had good overtaking opportunities down these not very long straights. Now, just trying to settle in, not trying to do anything stupid. We got an hour ahead of us here. You'll see going through this corner, we got about like a 6-car train going on here, which was really cool to see. Black Ferrari's going to look for an overtaking opportunity, go a little bit shallow. I'm going to try to get a little bit of a better exit than him. Seems like it doesn't work very well. He leaves the door open for me a little bit, so I try to sneak down the inside here, but then he cuts across me last minute and I have to straighten out a little bit to avoid him. That lost me a little bit of time, but it doesn't matter. He ends up going side by side by the orange McLaren, and this is a really sad moment for me because I don't think it was my fault. You guys can be the judge of that. I end up going up the inside of the McLaren and he dumps me. So yeah, it wasn't a great place to get dumped, but I guess I didn't have that much damage, so it was okay. Trying to get back on track, not killing anybody. This is a blind right-hander, so it would be great if I didn't kill anybody. Going from 8th to 14th, but will be 15th because I absolutely butchered this corner and the McLaren managed to sneak up the inside. Anyways, time to lock in. Black Ferrari pulling an interesting move there. I'm grateful for that though. Going down to the first chicane, I'm pretty sure. McLaren ahead of me gets a bad exit. Go around the outside, trying to get the inside for the next corner. I back out. Try to stay on his bumper as much as possible through this so that I can maybe get an overtake opportunity into the next hard braking zone. I managed to do pretty well at that, but it doesn't work. And here he goes defensive. I try to get a better exit. I think it works. Yeah, it works. And you're just going to see how much suck I have from these guys because of my straight line speed. I decide that I'm close enough, so I dive up the inside. I go a little bit deep and I force him out a little bit, but he backs out, which is good, and I make the move stick. Now focused on the Porsche ahead of me. He was pretty quick, but he was making quite a few mistakes, so I just decided to keep consistent, and I ended up catching up to him pretty fast. Applying a little bit of pressure down to T1. He didn't really fold under pressure, which was kind of annoying for me, but it was alright. Just trying to stay behind him as close as possible for as long as possible. Anyways, going down to turn 5, same lap. He makes a mistake going a little bit wide in the first corner and gets a really bad exit. Somebody's dead on the left over there. I get a good enough run to come around the outside of him. I try to give him as much space as possible. He tries going around the outside, but it doesn't really work around that corner, and I manage to make it stick with losing as minimal time as possible. A few laps later, I end up catching up to this Mustang, and I see on the top left corner that there's a yellow flag ahead of me, and there's a Lamborghini and another Mustang dead at turn 2. I managed to pass the Lamborghini. The red Ford tries going around the outside, gets onto the grass. I managed to get on the inside of him, get a little bit of a better exit. Just hoping that the Mustang ahead of me is going to give me a little bit of slipstream. I do end up clearing the Mustang behind me, and I'm just really focused now on the Mustang ahead. He did end up hitting this lap, so it wasn't really worth overtaking him. I didn't manage to overtake him by the end of the lap anyways, so. Here at the end of the lap, you can see he uses his indicator. I am really appreciative about that because a lot of people in this game don't use indicators. So I'm just really grateful that he did that. Now for a little while, I was kind of just by myself. You can see the Lamborghini caught up a little bit, but he ends up making a mistake. So for about like 7 or 8 laps, I was just putting in laps best as I can. And at lap 19, I decided to go into the pits. I get a pretty good pit entry, as you can see here. The only thing is that at the end of this right-hander, I realized that there is no pit entry board, like to show where you need to slow down, so that was kind of confusing. I ended up finding out that at the end of the race that a Ferrari intentionally did that, so if you're watching this, please don't do that. That's not sportsmanlike. And it just messes up a bunch of people's races. Now on the bottom left you can see there's a Honda in front of me, and it was so painful trying to catch up to this guy because he was putting in some really good laps, and every time I would make a small mistake I would lose 2/10, which would take me like 4 corners to gain him back on. So I ended up catching up to him lap 28. Lap 28, I finally get in slipstream range of him, and going through this chicane here, he makes a little bit of a mistake, so I gain even more on him. And through this section, I was a little bit stronger than him, so I was really quite on his bumper the whole time through here, which was really good. Going through this next right-hander, it's supposed to be flat, but because of the dirty air, it caused me to go a little bit wide, losing me a little bit of time. Now, we stayed quite close to each other the whole time. We never really got out of like 8/10 of each other, which is nice. Now, for quite a few corners, I was just taking jabs at him, seeing how he would react and what he would do and if he would make any mistakes, just trying to analyze his driving. And I really thought that I was going to pass this guy pretty quickly, but apparently not. Now, going through the same corner that I messed up on, he manages to mess it up. He slows down quite a lot. I go around the outside, see if I can make anything work. I decided I want to back out, but I end up hitting him a little bit, so I end up slowing down. Now, going down to turn 1, I get some pretty good slipstream. He goes defensive, so I decide to try to get a switchback, but I managed to slip a little bit, slowing me down too much. Turn 2 now, he goes actually pretty wide at turn 2, letting me get a better exit than him and just trying to get as much slipstream as I can. I keep saying that, but it's really important for me because I'm not very good in the straights. He goes offensive, I get a pretty good exit here, and more slipstream. I know, right? It's pretty amazing. I decided to go to the outside, and I saw that he was kind of squeezing me a little bit, so I didn't really want to get into any of that. He goes pretty deep there, gets a bad exit, and I'm now going around the outside. The outside of this corner ends up turning into the inside. He goes pretty deep. I decide I want to make it work, and I end up going too wide. I was a little bit too fast for that corner, so I decided to let him go. He almost hits me. That was a little bit scary, but, you know. Now, I'm pretty sure he thinks that I'm a little bit too close for him, so he goes defensive. He reacts to my little jab at him. I managed to get a pretty good exit here. I didn't want to ram him or anything, so I had to hold back a little bit. Going through the last 2 corners here, I'm pretty close to him. He goes defensive again. Going defensive here basically means that it's going to be your corner. There's no debating that. I get a pretty good exit here, though. Not good enough to get any side draft. I decide to tuck back behind him. I go wide a little bit. He goes offensive. I try to make it work around the outside this time. I don't go for a switchback. I set up the corner pretty well, and I managed to get around him pretty good. Going into turn 2 though, I go pretty deep. He tries to get a little bit of a switchback going, but he doesn't get a good enough exit to make anything work. Now you would assume that I would be able to keep the position, right? But you are wrong. Going through this corner, going down the straight, this next chicane here, I absolutely screw it over. I decide, hey, let's try going first gear through here. That sounds like a good idea. And then I decide to monster truck my way over the sausage curve, giving me a shitty exit. He gets his way along the outside, turning into the inside for the next corner. He goes pretty deep here, but I'm so pissed at this point that I'm just like, you know what? It's my corner. It's my rules. And I managed to make it stick again. After that, I managed to pull like 2 seconds away from him, but getting to the end of the race, about like the 2.5 minute mark, he ended up getting pretty close. He ended up getting about like 8 seconds to me, which was pretty scary, but I managed to keep it until the end of the race. Now, I couldn't record till the finish line, so if you guys like the video, do whatever you want, I guess. Just like, I don't know. Yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.